Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chandabala Girivardhari Gopi Chandabala Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajanana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Pratajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam Canto 8, Chapter 2, Text 3, which is actually the last verse of this chapter. Yakashtanesho Balinon Takoragat Prachanda Vegad Abhidavato Brisham Vitan Prapanan Paripati Yadvayan Ritu Pradatvat Yarunantam Imahi Yakashtanesho Alinon Takoragat Prachanda Vegad Abhidavato Brisham Vitan Prapanan Paripati Yadvayan Ritu Pradavad Aranantam Imahi Yakashtanesho Balinon Takoragat Prachana Vegad Abhidavato Brisham Vitan Prapanan Paripati Yadvayan Vedatvan Abhidavatam Amimahi Yakashtanesho Balinon Takoragat Prachanda Vegad Abhidavato Brisham Prapanan Paripati Yadvayan Ritu Pradad Aranam Tamimahi Yakashtanesho Paino Nikoragat Prachanda Vegad Abhidavato Brisham Vitan Prapanan Paripati Yadvayan Ritu Pradad Aranam Tamimahi Only in the mind. Okay, word for word. Yaha, he who, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kaschana, someone. Ishaha, the Supreme Controller. Valinaha, powerful. Antaka Uragat, from the great serpent of time which brings death. Prachana Vegat, whose force is fearful. Abhidavataha, who is chastising. Brisham, endlessly, every hour and every minute. Bitam, one who is afraid of death. Prapanam, who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paripatti, he protects. Yat Bayat, from fear of the Lord. Mrityuhu, death itself. Pradavati, runs away. Aranam, the actual shelter of everyone. Tam, unto him. Imahi, I surrender shelter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly not known to everyone, but he is very powerful and influential. Therefore, although the serpent eternal time, which is fearful in force, endlessly, therefore, although the serpent of eternal time, which is fearful in force, endlessly chases everyone, ready to swallow him, if one who fears this serpent seeks shelter of the Lord gives him protection, for even death runs away in fear of the Lord. I therefore surrender unto him, the great and powerful Supreme Authority, who is the actual shelter one. Repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly not known to everyone, but he is very powerful and influential. Therefore, although the serpent of eternal time, which is fearful in force, endlessly chases everyone, ready to swallow him. If one who fears this serpent seeks shelter of the Lord gives him protection. For even death runs away in fear of the Lord. I therefore surrender unto him, the great and powerful Supreme Authority, who is the actual shelter of everyone. Srila Prabhupada's purport. One who is intelligent understands that there is a great and supreme authority above everything. The great authority appears in different incarnations to save the innocent from disturbances. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 8, Paritranaya sadunang vinashaya chaduskritam. The Lord appears in his various incarnations for two purposes: to annihilate the duskriti, the sinful, and to protect his devotees. The king of the elephants decided to surrender unto him. This is intelligent. One must know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead One must know that great Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. The Lord comes personally to instruct us how to be happy, and only fools and rascals do not see by intelligence the supreme authority, the supreme person. In the Shruti mantra, it is said, Vishashmad vata pavate, Visho detis suryaha, Vishashmad agnish chandrascha, Mrityur Dhavati Panchamaha, from the Tattatreya Upanishad 2.8. It is out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blowing, that the sun is distributing heat and light, and that death is chasing everyone. Thus, there is a supreme controller, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 10. Maya jakshena prakriti suyade sacharacharam. The material manifestation is working so well because of the supreme controller. Any intelligent person, therefore, can understand that there is a supreme controller. Furthermore, the supreme controller himself appears as Lord Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as Lord Ramachandra, to give us instructions and to show us by example how to surrender under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, those who are Duskriti, the lowest of men, do not surrender. Namang Duskritino Buddha Prapajante Naradama. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord clearly says, Mrityu Sarva Haraschahan, I am all devouring death. Thus, quote, thus Mrityu, or death, is a representative who takes everything away from the living entity who is accepted in a material body. No one can say, I do not fear death. This is a false proposition. Everyone fears death. However, one who seeks shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be saved from death. One may argue, does the devotee not die? The answer is that the devotee certainly must give up his body, for the body is material. The difference is, however, that for one who surrenders to Krishna fully and who is protected by Krishna, the present body is his last. He will not again receive a material body to be subjected to death. This is assured in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 9. Chaktva dehang punar janma naitimam iti sorjina. A devotee, after giving up his body, does not accept a material body, but returns home back to Godhead. We are, because at any moment death can take place. It is not that only Gajendra, the king of elephants, was afraid of death. Everyone should fear death, because everyone is caught by the crocodile of eternal time and may die at any moment. The best course, therefore, is to seek shelter of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and be saved from the struggle for existence in the material world, in which one repeatedly takes birth and dies. To reach this understanding of the is the ultimate goal of life. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, the 2nd chapter of the Srimad-bhagavatam, entitled The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Ganajana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Um, so when Krishna comes, so many incarnations he comes, like the waves of the ocean keeps coming and coming and coming. Look at the ocean; you never see the waves stop coming. So the incarnations are coming like that, and these incarnations are there. These incarnations come to um, annihilate the miscreants and to uh, give pleasure for the devotees. There's both things. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatuskritam. To annihilate the duskriti, the sinful, and to protect his devotees. So the Lord always comes in this way, and he is, and he's created this whole material universe with the under the influence of the time factor. Time I am, he says, time I am, destroyer of the worlds. I've come to engage all men except for you, the Pandavas. Everyone will be killed. That was before the battle of Kurukshetra. He's preaching to Arjuna. So, so Krishna comes um, to annihilate the miscreants sometimes, and to give pleasure to his devotees, and as Srila Prabhupada was pointing out here, everyone is afraid of death. I mean, any moment we're thinking, oh, I could die right now. Then naturally there's fear, and even we practice Krishna consciousness, we're probably not just like indifferent. If someone's going to kill us, or we're going to we're sick or something, we're going to die very soon. We're probably not just indifferent to it, so there's fear. Actually, the only time in the life of a devotee, the only time that you really are completely free from the fear of death is when we come to the platform of completely spontaneous devotional service. It means bhava or Krishna prema. So there's always some fear, but that fear, in a sense, is good because it makes us try to remember Krishna. If we're not pure and we're not fearful, then we will very soon get into problem because we're thinking, I can still enjoy here. I can still enjoy this material world. So, so we should actually strive seriously in Krishna consciousness to, pass through the stages of sadhana bhakti, and especially pass through the stages of strict vaidhi bhakti, and go to elevate ourselves to the point more and more that we are doing our devotional service because I just like to do it. Vaidhi bhakti means that I'm using my intelligence. By my intelligence, I'm deciding, okay, I want to become Krishna conscious, therefore I must chant, I must follow the principles, I must somehow stay in the association of devotees. And all this is true, but we're doing it because we're thinking, we're analyzing. If I do this, I can become free from material life. I can go back to God. And if I don't do it, I'll stay here and I'll just like rot in the material world. Anyway, that's Vaidhi Bhakti. We're deciding to do it. Our impetus to go on in devotional service is more or less based on our own our intelligence and our analysis that if I do this, I can become free and happy, and if I don't do this, then I'll suffer. But in due course of time, by practicing Krishna consciousness, we gradually become more and and more spontaneous as we move into we're talking yesterday and before, from the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti to the Raganuga sadhana bhakti. So as we start doing devotional service more and more, because I really like to do devotional service. Not because I have to, not because somebody told me to, not because I know I'm going to, I have to so I can become Krishna conscious, so I can go back to Godhead. But more and more we're doing it because we just really enjoy devotional service. That's moving into the Raganuga. And when we become completely on the platform of Raganuga, or a later stage, when we're completely doing our service as spontaneously, not because I intellectualize that I need to, but because I just enjoy doing it. I want to do it. I'm looking forward every day to more and more devotional service. So when we become completely on that level, which is actually pretty advanced to be 100%, but when we're completely on that level, then at that point there's actually no fear of death, because we're practically with Krishna. I mean, there's no question of forgetting Krishna. There's no question of not going back to Godhead, because we're already on the spontaneous level. And then Srila Prabhupada writes here, this material manifestation is working so well because of the Supreme Controller. Any intelligent person therefore can understand that there is a Supreme Controller. Furthermore, the Supreme Controller himself appears as Lord Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as Lord Ramachandra. So, but it says anyone can understand, but in reality, there's a lot of people that don't understand that there's a Supreme Controller. It's certainly not the general mood in the scientific field, and it's not just the physics type scientific field or like that. It's in the scientific field in general. If someone is atheistic by nature, then whatever their branch of science that they're familiar with, they're atheistic. They're going to conclude that there is no controller. Just like in the one branch of science is psychology. So psychology, of course, I'm sure there are theistic psychologists, but there's also what's called the psychology of religion. And from an atheistic point of view, like who's that famous person psychologist? Huh? Yeah, Freud. Sigmund Freud. Yeah. So he was definitely a big atheist, and his conclusion of religion is just a man-made idea, because they say when what he writes is that just like when someone's little, a child, then they have the father figure. You're going to die, Hari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Shingade, Prahlad Maharaj, Ki. They have the father figure, the actual father. And but when we grow up, then you get teenager, you get older, then not really looking so much at the father as a little child would. So his argument is that when someone grows up, when someone becomes an adult, they still have feel that need for that father figure. So they create this idea of God. And if you have, when you create the idea of God, then naturally you start creating different ideas of, okay, there's God, you have to worship Him, and then you can come up with some ideas of how to worship Him, and some rituals and some, sacrifices and these things. So his speculation because he was wrong, was that you have to go through, that a human being only believes in God because he feels that need, so he had to create that idea so he can, exist pretty much, just so he can survive, and tolerate the material, life. But of course, that's actually not a fact. There is actually a God, which we are well aware of. There is actually a God, and He is the supreme controller, and we have an eternal relationship with Him. But anyway, from the material point of view, they become, same thing in anthropology and same thing in sociology. There's a sociology of religion, the anthropology of religion, and from the atheistic point of view, then they come to those kind of conclusions. How do these people happen to come up with this, this dumb idea that there's a God? Oh, there's also Aborigines. There's also lightning in the sky. Oh, this is greater than us. And so they argue that they came up with some conclusion that there must be someone superior. But from the atheistic point of view, that's just somebody's idea, which is not true. But we understand that it is true. Prabhupada fought, argued, preached very, very strongly against the material scientists, the atheistic material scientists, because of these kind of conclusions. Because people, in general, look up to the scientists as some very high position, and if someone's got Dr. So and so, PhD, and he makes some important statement. When he says it's an important statement, the people say, "Wow, he's very intelligent. We should, But a lot of times they're wrong, especially if their conclusion it means that they conclude that there's no God, or they conclude that the universe is just formed without any creator. Srila Prabhupada says anyone can see that everything, there's a creator, there's a controller of everything. But some, even if they can see it, they're not willing to accept it. It's like okay, if we can prove that God does not exist by our scientific, we can give a scientific explanation about how everything works in this world, how everything happens in this world, and we can, by our good intelligence, our big intelligence, we can figure out how to solve all the problems of this world just by our intelligence. Then they basically just throw out the idea of God. There's no need for God, and we are able to explain everything and do everything without any God. So therefore, there's no God. Srila Prabhupada actually uses the term they killed God, and he tells a nice story. Oh yes, the mouse story. So the story Srila Prabhupada tells. It's one of these recordings that plays here all the time. Sometimes he tells a story of the again become a mouse. So again become a mouse. Here it goes like this. There was a saintly person. Saintly person meaning someone who has abilities and mystic powers. They can bless anyone with anything. So he's there, engaged in his meditations, and a mouse comes up, and big anxiety, looking around, and you got to help me, you got to save me. well, what do you want? What's wrong? Oh, there's a big cat, big, a big cat chasing me everywhere I go. I can't go anywhere. It's always chasing me. So I need to become I want you to change me into a cat, and I won't have any problems with that cat. Okay, become a cat. Right? And then, and then the cat uh, goes away for some time. But then after a few days, he runs back in great anxiety to this great this saintly person because there's a dog chasing him. Dogs like to chase cats. Uh, so now I need to become now, which is one more time, which one more change. Just make me into a dog, then I won't be bothered by dogs. So, okay, become a dog, and then he goes away, a happy dog, and then in due course of time, it wasn't very long, and then he came back again because now the dogs don't bother him, but there's a tiger that was after him. And dogs are no match for a tiger. So he comes back to the stage again. He said, "What do you want this time?" They're never satisfied. They said, "Oh, I want to become a tiger. That way these dogs won't bother me." You know. So I said, "Okay, become a tiger." And then the tiger now he's standing there and he's looking at the stage. Looking at you start. Yeah. Oh, so you want to eat me now? Yes. Become a mouse again. Yeah. So the purport of the story, Prabhupada explains, is he says this is just like our modern civilization. We, through our different means, our material means, we get higher and higher positions and more power and more control, like that. But then when we get to a certain point, then we think, oh, I'm very good, I'm very great now. Now I want to kill God. And to reject the idea of God. You can't kill God, but reject the idea. I'm killing him by rejecting his uh, that he even exists. Just like we were talking the other day about the prayer in school. So someone got that idea, took it through the system, and okay, now we're going to take God out of the school. No more prayer, no more Lord's Prayer, no more pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God, like that. We're going to stop all that. And in so many other ways, God is basically put out of the picture. So modern times, many people are trying to kill God in that way. But what happens? You get up there, you kill God, and you put him out of your mind at least. You kill in that sense, and then the whole civilization crashes. Ultimately, the whole civilization crashes, which is happening anyway. But it'll be the most severe part of that will be at the end of the Kali Yuga, because right now there's a lot of Sankirtan and preaching going on and things like that. So things are being held a little bit in check. But at the end of Kali Yuga, when almost everyone, except for a few devotees here and there, everyone has become an atheist, demon like that. That and then everything, and then the whole society was just like crumble. I mean, it would be so bad that the Kalki avatar has to come on his white horse and with a sword, start killing everyone all over the whole world. Not everyone, but most everyone. Then kill the devotees. He kills everyone else who's atheist and demon, because there's no possibility at that point of preaching to anyone. You can't change anyone. People become so low, so animalistic, so demoniac that even Lord Krishna cannot come and fix the problem by preaching. So Kalki Avatar doesn't preach; he just comes there on his big white horse and starts killing everyone. And interestingly, in the Bible, the Christian Bible, there's actually mention of God coming on a white horse in somewhere there. I don't remember, in the Revelation somewhere, I think. Yeah, so it's actually there. So, in any case, people can try to kill God, and of course that mentality, of course, will increase their, as we're reading here, increase their fear of death. Fear, everyone, you put God out of the picture, then everyone would be really fearful of death, and there'd be more fighting, more wars, more problems, because everyone's afraid that somebody's going to kill me, so I got to kill them. And that's the demoniac mentality. It says, so much wealth do I have today, and I shall get more according to my means. I've killed my my enemy has been killed, and I will kill others, and other enemies like that. And so like that. So that's demoniac mentality, and that as Kali Yuga goes on, that'll just be practically 99.9% of the people will be like that. So then everyone more and more and more will become fearful of death. But anyway, we're not there yet. So at this point, there's still many devotees in the world, and there's ISKCON and other organizations too that preach Krishna consciousness, of course. And people are, in general, people are still innocent, not necessarily acting in the right way, but innocent, meaning that it's a wrong idea, Shilpa would explain, to think that the people in general are just all every person out there is just a big demon. We gotta, you know. He said in general the people are innocent, acting improperly because they've been misled and not been taught properly. They've been taught improperly. So they're acting in the wrong way, but they're basically innocent. They don't know. So and their leaders, the materialistic leaders, are not going to give that knowledge. So that's where the Krishna consciousness movement. That's where the devotees who have taken up this path, who have this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. That's where we get we come in. That's our it's our duty. It's our duty. You have this knowledge. We have this knowledge. We have to somehow or other see how we can give this knowledge to others. So Lord Chaitanya says, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. Right? Try to give people Krishna consciousness. And if they're not in a position where they can immediately want to hear about Krishna, sneak them some prasadam, or get them to hear the holy names, even though they may not understand what it is, or may not even want to hear. And there was I think I've told this story before. Once in one temple, I think it was Boston, as I was told. I wasn't there, but I was narrated this story once. So I was given the class. But one lady was having, Boston, at least at that time, I don't know what they're doing now. This is many years ago. But they would always be in the same place every day, chanting all day. Now I hear we have to keep moving all the time. But they could stay. They had one place they were allowed to chant, and they chanted, morning till night. And there was one lady who became, she was not happy about the chanting, but it was on the street. She had to go from here to here every day, go to work, come back, go to work, come back. And so she couldn't avoid it. There's no way around it. And she didn't like it. She hated it. Chanting, what are these crazy people doing out there? uh, they say that even she would sometimes throw stones at the devotees across the street, trying to get them to go. But the devotees kept chanting, and she had to hear it day after day after day. So, but in time, time like years went by, and she was still having to walk there. And at some point, she stopped and listened. She felt like, for some reason she felt that need or that desire to stop and listen a little bit to the chanting. And then she started stopping and listening a little bit more as time went on. And then she actually started trying to understand what are they actually saying, and started saying it herself a little bit. And anyway, it went on. This went on for years, and in due course of time, she finally went over and talked to someone, or got a book, got an invitation to the temple, started going to the temple, and became a devotee herself. So like that. So not everyone at any one moment is ready to directly hear about Krishna, but they give them Krishna in some form or another, then they get that benefit, and then they also can get to the point where they can become free from the fear of death. There's also an instance where during Srila Prabhupada's presence, there was one girl, young lady, who was sick. She was dying. She actually went to India to spend her last days there, but she was very fearful. She was afraid of death, and she went. She was crying. Went to Srila Prabhupada, and, explained, "Here's I'm going to die, and I'm afraid." And Srila Prabhupada just he said, "What are you afraid of? Just chant Hare Krishna, remember Krishna, and when you give up your body, you go back to Godhead." Right? Simple. Of course, surrendering to the process, and surrendering to actually having that faith to do it may not come immediately. Faith is something that's developed. But Srila Prabhupada was, he had full realization, of course. And so and what he said was true. It's very simple. You chant Hare Krishna, you're thinking about Krishna, and if you're thinking about Krishna at the time of death, you go back to Godhead. There's also an instance where Srila Prabhupada, well, he wasn't personally present there. Who the devotee was. Anyway, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples many years ago, and his mother was dying, but he had always, since this particular devotee who he had joined, since he joined the movement, he would send small books, Krishna conscious books to his mother, and he didn't know if she was reading them or not reading them, but he would always send them. Every time a new little book came out, he would send her a book, tried to talk to her about Krishna, which she didn't particularly show any real interest. But but just at the very end of her life, he was there with her, and she said, he says, "Where is your Krishna now?" And then she left her body. Just at that point, "Where is your Krishna now?" So this devotee told Srila Prabhupada about it. What had happened, said, "Oh, she's gone back to Godhead. She was talking about Krishna. She was saying Krishna at that moment." So, so of course we need to practice very seriously, because we don't know what exactly our situation will be when our time comes. It could be you could be in a car accident and be screaming something besides Krishna at that point. So it takes practice. It can happen. It does happen. You could be. There were devotees once who were on Sankirtan, traveling Sankirtan, and it was supposed to have been a cold place, so they had their heater, a gas heater on inside their van. But there's no, gas heaters also put out things that are not good for you suffocate if you don't have some ventilation. And they didn't do that, and they died in their van because of that. So of course they were out in Sankerton. I don't know. I can't say that there was any statement made as far as what the final result was, but it was the point of death could come at any point. Uh, so we do our best to take care of ourselves, our lives, our health, and be very careful in life, and knowing that final moment can come at any time, and most of all, try to make sure that we remember Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said if you chant your rounds, 16 rounds a day, and follow the 4 Yoga principles, just do that throughout your life, from whatever point you start, you do that throughout your life. And if you do that, then at the time of death, Krishna will make sure that he will make you remember him. If we've actually made that commitment, and we've dedicated our lives in Krishna service, even if we're getting old and we're feeling still struggling, our mind is still crazy. It's hard. But if we kept following the process, we surrendered to the process, and we're praying to Krishna, always please help me, then when our time comes, he will make sure that he will make us remember him. He'll make us remember. And then he'll take us back to God. And he just wants to see that we are sincere. And he will make sure that we remember him at the last moment. But we can't cheat. If we cheat, then we will get a different result. There's a nice story about that too. These neighbor stories. And I think I've told this before, but it's appropriate here. This is the story of a man. He was a pretty materialistic person, but he had some sons, and his sons he knew the science. You remember the name of God at the time of death, you go back to Godhead. So, but he had no interest in practicing Krishna consciousness during his life. He was just a materialistic person. So he named all his sons Krishna, named Vishnu and Rama, whatever, like the names of God. Lived his full materialistic life, but his idea was, okay, when I'm about ready to die, I'm going to call all my sons together. I'll call them by names, and because they're names of God, and I'm going to go back to the spiritual world. So he thought, hey, I got the best of both worlds. I can enjoy a materialistic life now, and I can get liberation at the end of my life. So his time, he came to his last days, and he was lying there on his deathbed, and he was calling, Govinda had come, and Vishnu had come, his sons' names, and Rama had come, and then somebody else had come, Krishna Das, I don't know, came or didn't come, so he says, and they got angry because he was still materialistic mentality. Where the hell is Krishna Das? Then he dies. Where's the hell? Where the hell? So he wasn't thinking about he wasn't thinking God. He wasn't thinking God. He was thinking hell, and that's where he went because he cheated. He had no intention of being a devotee, just getting the fruits of being a devotee. So we can't cheat Krishna, but Krishna knows that if we're sincere, he knows that we're sincere. And Srila Prabhupada gave us the means by which we can show that we are sincere. And sincere means you've got to you got to follow the basic instructions at least. So we chant our rounds, follow the regular principles, work together to see how we can practice Krishna consciousness and how we can give Krishna consciousness. No one has to be any big anything. We're not big anything. Even Srila Prabhupada, even when someone said once, Srila Prabhupada, I guess he was really frustrated, he said, I'm just a big demon. He was saying to Srila Prabhupada, I'm just a big demon. You're not a big anything. Don't be puffed up. Big demon is your Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and Ravana. You're not a big anything. So we're small. And he said you're not a big anything. You're insignificant. So that's the mentality you should have. Even if somehow we get in a relatively big position in the world, in society, even if some devotee became the president of the United States one day, maybe, or in a very materially big position or a big wealthy position or whatever, but still the devotee needs to feel that I am just insignificant. I'm just a small servant, and try to use their lives to engage in devotional service and to help others become Krishna conscious. So even if we are big, relatively speaking, then we have to feel ourselves small. And that's the example we have with the big, all of our acharyas. Even Srila Prabhupada would always take that 100% humble position. He's glorified so much that if I have any success in this movement, it's only because I've tried to carry out the instructions of my spiritual master. I'm nothing. If there's success in this movement, it's because of my spiritual master, and my only credit, if I have any, is that I've tried to carry out his instructions. So that's the way. We have to be humble. So that's the way to do it. Srila Prabhupada showed the example. You can be in a very big position. You can actually have lots and lots of followers and lots of money and lots of a lot of things. If the mentality is that I'm very small, I'm very insignificant, I'm nothing. They say Krishna sent me these things, and I'm using them in Krishna service. Even Srila Prabhupada said, this movement is going on because of all of you are helping me. And you are helping me because my spiritual master sent all of you here to help me. He said like that. So he didn't take credit for anything. He says that I'm big devotee, big acharya, and by my power I've all this has happened. No, Srila Prabhupada always took the humble position, and because that I'm nothing, I'm insignificant, and because because you give credit to his spiritual master, or give credit to Lord Krishna for making things happen, and he was just trying to assist in some way. Even when Srila Prabhupada, before he came to America, before he actually traveled to America, he was, his spiritual master had given him some instruction. There's an account, and Srila Prabhupada don't read where it was, or Srila Prabhupada told somebody later on, or somebody told, I don't know if you can figure out how it came about, but there's some account where Srila Prabhupada was he was living in the temple, the Rupa Goswami temple, Samadhi, not the Samadhi, but the temple. And he was there and sweeping the grounds a little bit, and praying, begging Srila Rupa Goswami, please empower me and give me the ability so I can carry out this order that my spiritual master had given to me. So Srila Prabhupada, although he's in a big position, his humility is like, we can't describe it. But that was there for us to learn from. We have to learn from. And we not only learn the philosophy, but we also learn the humility, to be humble. I mean, actually, to be humble, and in carrying out the instructions of the spiritual master. And if we can take a humble position, then we will well, then we'll succeed. We'll succeed in preaching. We'll succeed in remembering Krishna at the time of death, just like we're reading here about this whole chapter's been about Gajendra. So Gajendra, he finally came to the point of, he actually became humble. That there's no place else I can go and get shelter. Nobody can help me. Even if they want to help me, they can't help me. So, so I, so now I understand that. So now I'm surrendering to the only one who can help me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And next chapter will be Gajendra's prayers of surrender. So the next chapter is all about Gajendra's prayers. And then the chapter after that, Gajendra returns to the spiritual world. So anyway, we will stop here. Thank you for listening through it all. Any questions, comments?
Would you say humility transforms into purity or the level of surrender? Like somebody being humble, would they continue the level of purity or surrender?
Yes. I mean, you can put on a show of being humble without being advanced, but to actually be really, really advanced, to actually be really, really humble, then yeah, you have to be pretty advanced. In fact, this nectar devotion, which I don't have with me here. There's a chapter on this chapter 17, 18, I think. 17 is bhava, 18 is the symptoms of one who is in bhava, and 19 is Krishna prema. So there are different kinds of qualities that are, there's 9 different qualities that one will have if he is very advanced on the level of bhava. And one of them has to do with humility. He's totally humble. Another quality is that he does not waste time. He just doesn't waste time. He's thinking every moment, I got to be engaged in Krishna service somehow. So he doesn't want to waste time with anything. I don't remember all the other qualities right off. We can read them sometime. Maybe tomorrow or remember I'll have the nectar devotion here. We can read through those qualities. But they're qualities that you cannot, Srila Prabhupada points out that you cannot artificially exhibit these qualities. One is to be detached, and detached means that you're actually detached. So anyway, so the whole point of that particular chapter is if someone says, say someone claims that I'm already on the level of bhava, I'm very advanced like that. But by looking at those qualities that are described there, you can see that this person has this quality, and this quality, and this quality, and this quality. Because you can't actually exhibit those qualities artificially. That's the point there. Well, maybe I'll remember tomorrow. We'll read it because it's getting kind of late now. But yes, so to be actually humble means you have to be advanced. We can practice humility without being advanced, but to be 100% really, really, totally humble, then yes, we have to be advanced. That's the perfection. Pure devotee is like that. Is completely humble and he's completely advanced.
I was just going to comment on the verse that there's a very vivid description of the snake, like the bomb.
Oh yes, the snake of death.
There reminded me of back when I was young and I listened to music, realistic music, the way that Jim Morrison mentioned the snake that was devouring everything, the small serpent. It brought a memory of that. In some way, you have this realization that that time is devouring everything. It's a snake that's devouring everything. It's coming at you, but for the devotee, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a factor. We're not fearful of that.
Yes, and in general, we don't have to be. At least we have the intelligence. We're given the intelligence. Our intelligence is in the form of these books. So we have that intelligence in front of us, available to us, that we know why we should not be fearful of death. We know, in principle, that we're not the material body, and if we're practicing Krishna consciousness, we obviously have to have some amount of realization, maybe not full realization, but some realization that we're not this material body, and that we're servants of Krishna. And have some faith that whatever advancement I'm making, even when I do die, my advancement will come with me. But Lord, Srila Prabhupada made it clear. You chant, because every initiation letter he ever wrote, accepting someone, talk about chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regular principles the rest of your life. And he was saying that if you do this seriously throughout your life, continue through to the end of your life, you will go back home, back to Godhead. And you may think, at least I thought, that that sounds pretty easy, because sounded pretty easy. If we're chant 2 hours a day, and we don't following the regular principles. It doesn't take any time. It's something you don't do. So we have 2 hours of chanting, and the rest of the day I'm free to do whatever I want to do, and I can go back to Godhead. But it doesn't exactly work that way, because the only way we're going to keep in the proper consciousness so we can keep chanting Hare Krishna regularly until the end is we've got to keep advancing. Spiritual life is not. It's dynamic, you may say. You've got to keep. Basically, you have to go. You go forward or you go backwards. So you have to keep practicing, and if we don't keep going forward, then we start becoming more covered by Maya. So you can't just be like lazy and okay, I chanted my 16 rounds and I can spend the rest of the day doing all kinds of nonsense like that, and then I'm guaranteed to go back to the spiritual world. No, because what will happen is you start doing that. So you just start doing all that nonsense, then you start losing your taste for chanting. You start engaging in sinful life, then you lose the taste for chanting like that, and then everything starts falling apart. And you're still thinking that I really got it made. Well, I decided that wasn't for me now, but anytime I went, I can just dive back in and become fully Krishna conscious, like that. But that may not actually happen. Any questions, Giovanni? Oh, yes. What is your question? Okay. Oh, okay. When you're 10, you'll ask me the question. Oh, okay. So we'll end here for now, and you're welcome. Hare Krishna. And tomorrow we'll start with a new chapter. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.